Karmir Balur is one of the most important Urartian sites ever excavated. So as you know, it is located in the territory of modern Yerevan, and it was built by the Urartian monarch Rusa II in the middle of 7th century BC, and it was called Teishebaini, the city of the god Teisheba, of the thunder, storm god, the weather god of the Urartian pantheon. And of course it is one of the well-excavated, one of the well-explored Urartian monuments. For example, the collection of History Museum of Armenia are mainly based, Urartian are mainly based on the collection of Karmir Balur materials. So if you want to know, for example, the significance of Karmir Balur. Karmir Balur has both pre-Urartian and post-Urartian layers and periods and structures as well. A wonderful monument with very well preserved architecture, structures, storage rooms. Just I can tell about our recent research and excavations which we are doing with our Austrian colleagues from Innsbruck University, with my dear friend and colleague Dr. Walter Kuntner. So during our research we were able to point out that in Karmir Balur we have also post-Urartian layers. This is extremely important about also continuity and also for other reasons as well. By the way, also other colleagues from Hermitage State Museum are also working with us during Karmir Balur excavations, and by our team was unearthed new very important monumental structure which resembles the architecture planning of the Armenian medieval caravanserai, but in Urartian times. Either it was a market or caravanserai or horse stable, so it is now really very hard to differentiate, but it's really an important discovery, and we received many congratulations from our colleagues, and in next year we are going to continue excavation in this area, and at the end, of course, we should have a monography about this, and of course the protection of this monument. So we are planning to make a permanent shelter for, first of all, for protection and also for touristic purposes. Now we are doing different kind of activities, some experimental archaeology, some kind of edutainment practices.
We have in Agarak.
Agarak belongs to the service for protection. It's under supervision of service for protection of historical cultural monuments of Armenia. And it's a wonderful and unique site because it involves different periods. For example, in Agarak you can discover Kura Araxes, early Bronze Age period structures, even prototypes of streets which has more than 4,500 years history. And of course the landscape of Agarak is fantastic. But for me, as an Urartologist, the most important structure, the most fascinating structure is, of course, the rock-cut tomb of Agarak. Really very important and one of the most preserved rock-cut Urartian tomb in the territory of Armenia. And as I know, now there are some ongoing projects for the valorization and protection of this important site.
In one of your interviews you've mentioned about excavations that your colleague Frina Babayan has conducted in 2003, and they found some reminiscence of a city architecture that resembled Urartian architecture, but then it was filled with concrete. Do you know what happened to this monument? իրանց վերած մեջբերումն է ձեր բանից Sputnik-ի ինտերվյուին այսպեսի բան եք ասել underground քաղաք է գտնվել որ
No, it is so Frina Babayan and other our senior colleagues, so they were able to excavate in the territory in the area of Republic Square close to History Museum some structures, as I know, related mainly to 19th century. Some of them maybe can be dated from 17th century. And what is interesting is that during those excavations there were discovered some water tubes made from tufa stones. And by the way, very similar water tufa stones were discovered also in Erebuni. Maybe those stones discovered in Erebuni also they should be dated from 17th century or maybe 13th, 14th century, as some scholars say, but it is not my period and I cannot make some deep remarks on it.
And the last question, the Urartian site next to Yerevan Mall that we will be filming tomorrow, what is the significance of that one? What do we have there?
So next to Yerevan Mall we have an important Urartian tomb discovered in 1984 by Case and after explored by the archaeologists, by the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography of Armenia and by Erebuni Museum. This is very unique for Armenia because it is not rock-cut tomb. This tomb made with stones and this is monumental tomb. Very important, and by the way it can be the target for touristic itineraries. Thanks to the discovery of this tomb, so we can enrich our knowledge about the Urartian burial customs, burial rite especially. So here we have testimony of cremation, maybe decarnation. So we have some incredible materials, part of belts, quiver, jewelry, and also some important pottery. And by the way, 3 parts of unknown writing, which were never published. And one of them is on the facade of the tomb, and 2 are in our museum. And by the way, we find 2 equivalents of this writing in Armenian colophony. This is medieval colophony. This is also very important. You know, Yerevan and Armenia has a big potential to be a center of touristic center of history, of culture. So we can develop archaeological tourism, cultural tourism, and we have for this potential resources a lot of monuments, not only Erebuni, Karmir, Balur. So in the territory of whole Republic of Armenia we have incredible monuments, for example Armavir, Argishtikhinili, Oshakan fortress, which is one of my favorite in Armenia, Agarak, Dovri, Otsabert, so, and also some cyclopean fortresses, some incredible cyclopean fortresses with very well preserved architecture. For example, I can mention an extraordinary fortress called Motkan, located close to Ujan village of so Ashtarak region, Aragazotan region, and there is a rock-cut road to the fortress. Imagine rock-cut road to the fortress, and this road is protected by tower, so built in ancient times. And we have, you know, we have many uncovered monuments, and we need to as I told you, care about our culture. We need to make a propaganda for our culture, because if we do not do it, it will be done by the others.